Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder once again with another Reddit story for you. This one is from the AITA H subreddit and is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Throwing Away My Husband's Father's Day Gifts After What He Did on Mother's Day? My husband and I have 2 kids, 6-year-old boy and 8-month girl. He told me for 2 weeks leading up to Mother's Day that he had an entire weekend planned for me. This is not normal, but there have been years in the past where I did complain and feel hurt because he didn't really do much of anything for me on Mother's Day, but I always went all out for him on Father's Day, and I just felt unappreciated. So I think that he finally understood where I was coming from and was going to make it special for me this year. I quite literally only asked for a massage, and he repeatedly said that he couldn't just give me a massage because it wasn't enough. So, I don't know. At this point, I'm truly thinking this man went all out. Anyway, Friday rolls around and a bunch of people start showing up. He invited a good 10 to 15 people over. I think I knew 2 people. He called it the Mother's Day bonfire. We had a fire all right, but I was the one who chased the kids around all evening, my 6-year-old while holding the baby, and some other person's 2 kids because they weren't watching them, and quite literally no one spoke to me. Okay, so he threw a party with his friends for himself, called it a Mother's Day barbecue, and or Mother's Day bonfire, and you just ended up having to work harder the whole time. Cool. I wasn't acknowledged until the very end of the evening, and that was by my husband's buddy who told me he was stealing my husband to go out four-wheeling. It's like 11 p.m. at this point, and everyone except me was drinking. I said my husband wasn't going anywhere. I even said this to my husband, "You're drinking, you're not going anywhere." He took that as, "Oh, I need to find a DD and then I can go." So he asked the neighbor to drive him around and took off with everyone. I'm extremely hurt at this point because this was my promised weekend, and I got stuck with other people's kids, wasn't spoken to at all, had a mess to clean up, and now my husband is taking off. I explained how hurt I am the next morning. He says he gets it and apologizes and says he just had too much to drink and wasn't thinking clearly. Okay, I get it. It's whatever. We didn't do anything Saturday because he spent half the day sleeping off a hangover. Well, yesterday rolled around and his boss called him at 6 a.m. and asked him to come to work because they were short-staffed, and he said yes. So I expressed hurt and said, "But it's Mother's Day." And he says, "I know, I'm sorry. I just don't want to pass up the opportunity for more hours." I get that too, so whatever. He gets home at 5 p.m. and starts getting the kids dressed and ushered toward the door. So I'm thinking we are finally going to celebrate. We ended up going on a walk. I love walking, but 5 minutes in and he's complaining and has us turn around because of the black flies. They weren't even bad. So again, I'm disappointed. When we get back home, he lays down on the couch and says, "Oh, your gift is in the truck." So I go down and it's a $5 storage container for sugar and flour. I do like stuff like this, but I'm so hurt at this point. I asked him if I could at least get a massage, and he said, "I'm sorry, babe. I'm just so tired." And fell asleep around 8 p.m. when he usually doesn't even go to bed until midnight or 1 a.m. I just sat there crying. I took the 3 gifts that I already bought for him for Father's Day and chucked them into the trash can. Personalized items that cost me more than I want to admit, but I don't even care anymore. He found them in the garbage this morning and asked me what they were and why they were in the trash covered with food. I told them they were his Father's Day gifts and left it at that. He's now saying that he tried to make my weekend special and that he's hurt by my throwing away his gifts to retaliate against him for it not turning out to be the way he wanted it to. Am I the astronaut for throwing his gifts out and being upset? Nope. 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 Hell no, you are not the asshole for this, OP. Wow. He cannot blame the formation of the Mother's Day bonfire with all of his buddies on drinking too much, because that was done. That was premeditated. And so he knew what was going to happen at the end of the night. That's why he invited his buddies over. They were going to go four-wheeling. This was premeditated. You can't blame premeditated things on drinking too much. The drinking didn't happen till later, sir. No. He actively gives no shits. And this only became an issue for him whenever he found his stuff in the trash. Suddenly he cares. Sorry it didn't go off the way I wanted it to. Well, no, it went exactly how you wanted it to. You didn't have to do jack shit except for have a party with your buddies. Cool. It's kind of like we had Father's Day weekend on Mother's Day, is what it feels like, isn't it? So you know what we should do for Father's Day? You'll get a chance, sir. You'll get a chance to make up for this botched job of a Mother's Day weekend. You get a chance. You get a chance to turn this around. You quite literally did what you wanted to do this weekend. So on Father's Day weekend, it's all on you to make it Mother's Day weekend. There's the fix. You care? Prove it. Because you've only proven the exact opposite to this point. What you've proven, your actions have said, I give 0 shits. In fact, I give negative shits because I'm going to do stuff for me. You got 2 options, fix it or don't. I think you know what lies on the don't path. So what you going to do? It's up to him, right? It's up to him. But I do think OP, because we have one of these to deal with, I think you got to spell it out pretty clearly and explain to him that from the outside here, or pretty much to everybody else in the entire world, it looks like he threw a Father's Day weekend on Mother's Day. And let him know what it's going to take to fix it. You can. I mean, a lot of times in this instance, I'll be like, look, the work of figuring out what it's going to take to fix it is on him. It needs to be on him because that's part of the problem. He needs to learn to think for himself, and it not be, thoughts of buffoonery, but actually be something along the right path here. So you give him as much help as you want to in the nudge to a solution here, but he has to make up for this. Otherwise, he is just cementing the fact that he gives 0 shits about you. I'm sure he appreciates the convenience of not having all the problems that would exist were you not there. I'm sure he appreciates that convenience, but appreciating you as a person, we're a long way from that. And you, at this point, OP, have to create some boundaries and have to reinforce them and say, no, screw that. Your shit's staying in the trash because that's how you made me feel. Like trash. I suggest you fix it. That stuff is not coming out of the trash. Damage is done on that. She knows it's not going to happen unless she spells it out, right? He knows he's screwed up right now, and that's step 1. And I would say it's going to be, this is a teach him to fish kind of moment, right? Letting him figure out how to fix it himself is the ideal situation. You might have to offer some help if you want it to resemble anything like what you actually want. As long as he is taking that information and actually using it and learning from it, that's something. But this goes back to the story we read earlier, right? It's if you have been told this once, you can never make this mistake again because you will not have an excuse. And he doesn't this time. They have kids. They've been together for a while. They have a 6-year-old and an 8-month-old. He's had a long time to figure out what this means to her and what not to do. Plenty of time.